The Oracle's Gift, a psychological horror short film. Once upon a time, in a peaceful kingdom, there was a young prince named Adrian. The kingdom was full of happy people and beautiful gardens. Everyone loved Prince Adrian because he was kind and wise. He always helped the people in the kingdom and listened to their problems. One day, an oracle, a wise woman who could see the future, came to the kingdom. She told Prince Adrian that he would have a great love in his life. This love would protect him and make the kingdom even happier. The people in the kingdom were excited about the oracle's prediction. They dreamed about who this great love could be. Some thought it might be a beautiful princess from a faraway land, while others imagined it could be someone from their own kingdom. Everything seemed perfect in Prince Adrian's world. He had loving friends and family, and his kingdom was peaceful. He was happy and hopeful, thinking about the wonderful future the oracle had predicted for him. But things were about to change. One day, a visitor came to the kingdom. The visitor was a tall, gaunt man with eyes that seemed to hold the depths of an endless night. His clothes were exotic, cut from rich fabrics that shimmered with an otherworldly sheen. As he entered the throne room, a hush fell over the gathered court. There was something unsettling about him, a sense of ancient, forbidden knowledge that clung to his presence like a shroud. He approached the young prince, his gaze fixed on the boy with an intensity that made Adrian shift uncomfortably. With a flourish, he produced the doll from a velvet pouch. It was indeed a masterpiece of craftsmanship. Its porcelain skin flawless, its hair a cascade of spun gold. But it was the doll's eyes that truly captivated. They were an eerie, deep blue, and seemed to shift and change color in the flickering candlelight, mirroring the visitor's own enigmatic gaze. As the man placed the doll in Adrian's hands, a chill seemed to seep into the room. A whisper ran through the crowd, a murmur of unease. The prince, however, was enthralled. He had never seen anything so beautiful. But as he held the doll closer, he noticed something peculiar. A faint, almost imperceptible pulse seemed to throb beneath the porcelain skin, and when he looked into the doll's eyes, he felt a strange connection, as if the doll was looking back at him with a consciousness of its own. Prince Adrian thanked the man and placed the doll in his room. At first, the doll seemed like a simple toy. But one night, as Adrian lay in bed, he heard a soft whisper. The voice seemed to come from the doll. "Be careful," the doll whispered. "Someone close to you wants to hurt you." Adrian was surprised and confused. He looked around the room, but saw no one. He thought maybe he was dreaming, but the next night, the whisper came again. "Trust no one," said the doll. "They will betray you." Adrian began to feel uneasy. He started to wonder if the doll's warnings were true. He looked at his friends and family with suspicion. Could someone really want to harm him? This small event planted a seed of doubt in Adrian's mind. The world that once seemed so perfect now felt strange and uncertain. Prince Adrian couldn't stop thinking about the whispers. Every night, he stared at the doll, trying to understand its secrets. He watched its eyes, wondering if they really moved. He listened for the voice, waiting for more warnings. During the day, Adrian felt distracted. When he was with his friends or family, he kept thinking about the doll's words. He looked at everyone with worry. Were they really his friends? Was there someone he couldn't trust? Adrian spent hours in his room, talking to the doll, hoping it would speak again. He wanted to know who wanted to harm him, but the doll stayed silent. As days passed, Adrian's obsession grew. He started writing notes about who might betray him. He watched every shadow, thinking it might hide a secret. He tried to remember every word and every whisper, hoping to find an answer. Adrian became so consumed by the doll that his princely duties began to slip through his fingers like grains of sand. Once vibrant and engaged, he now spent his days and nights cloistered in his chambers, lost in a world of porcelain and eerie silence. Important meetings were forgotten, urgent matters left unattended. The once immaculate royal gardens, a testament to his love for nature, fell into neglect. Weeds choked the flower beds, and the once pristine fountains were still and stagnant. The people of the kingdom, accustomed to a prince who was their guiding star, began to feel an unsettling unease. Whispers of their prince's seclusion spread like wildfire, igniting fear and uncertainty. The once joyous atmosphere of the kingdom was replaced by a palpable sense of dread. Many feared their beloved prince had fallen ill, while others whispered darker possibilities. The unanswered questions filled Adrian's mind, and the once peaceful world now felt full of danger and mystery. Prince Adrian's obsession turned into fear. He started to feel like everyone was watching him. He was scared that people were talking about him behind his back. Adrian stopped meeting with his friends and family. He no longer wanted to join the feasts or celebrations. Instead, he stayed in his room, always keeping an eye on the doll. He felt like the doll was his only true friend, the only one he could trust. The prince's mind was full of dark thoughts. He wondered if even his closest friends were part of a plot against him. He imagined secret meetings where people planned to betray him. Every sound outside his door made him nervous. People in the kingdom grew worried. They missed the happy prince who once walked among them. They tried to visit him, but he always sent them away. He didn't trust anyone anymore. Adrian's isolation made him sad and lonely. He felt trapped in a world of shadows and unanswered questions. With only the doll to keep him company, he longed for the happy days he used to know, but felt powerless to return to them. As the days passed, Prince Adrian started to see strange things. He saw shadows moving in his room when no one else was there. At night, he had strange dreams that felt very real. In his dreams, Adrian saw the kingdom in ruins. The sky was dark, and there were no people in the streets. He saw himself standing alone, with the doll by his side. In these dreams, the doll seemed to be alive, whispering secrets in his ear. Daylight offered no respite. Adrian's world, once bathed in familiar hues, now seemed tinted with an eerie pallor. Shadows, once comforting companions, stretched and contorted into grotesque caricatures, their edges jagged and menacing. His mind, a once reliable ally, was now a battleground of doubt and terror. The doll, an innocuous porcelain thing during the night, became a sinister presence in the waking hours. A flicker of movement from the corner of his eye sent a shiver down his spine. Was it a trick of the light, a desperate plea from his overwrought mind, or a chilling confirmation of his worst fears? The doll's silence was as deafening as any scream. In the quiet moments, when the house was still and the world outside carried on its mundane rhythm, a whisper seemed to cling to the air. A soft, ethereal melody, a haunting lullaby that only Adrian could hear. It was the doll's voice. He convinced himself, a silent scream trapped within porcelain and glass. He started to notice other strange occurrences. Objects would shift position, doors creaked open on their own, and a cold draft would sweep through the house, even on the warmest days. The once familiar surroundings had transformed into a labyrinth of dread, and Adrian was alone, a terrified explorer in a haunted house of his own making. Adrian was scared and confused. He didn't know if what he saw was real or if it was all in his mind. The visions made him feel trapped, like he was living in a nightmare. The prince wanted to understand what was happening, but he didn't know how. He felt like the doll was watching him, waiting for him to make a mistake. He knew he needed help, but he was too afraid to ask anyone. The visions were becoming more frequent, more vivid, and more terrifying. No longer were they fleeting glimpses of shadows and whispers. They were now haunting tableaus that played out before Adrian's eyes like gruesome puppet shows. The doll, once a mere object of curiosity, had become the sinister conductor of these horrors. Its porcelain face seemed to twist into grotesque expressions, mirroring the torment Adrian was experiencing. Isolation crept into Adrian's heart like a venomous spider. The once vibrant castle seemed to echo with an oppressive silence. His closest confidants, wary of his erratic behavior and the strange occurrences, kept their distance. He was a king adrift, surrounded by courtiers, but utterly alone. The darkness that had begun as a mere shadow was now a monstrous entity, consuming him from within. Unknown to Adrian, as his fear deepened, so too did Marcus's power. The prince, a master manipulator, reveled in Adrian's growing despair. With each terrifying vision, Marcus's grip on the doll tightened, his dark magic weaving an intricate web of control. The once innocent plaything was now a sinister instrument of fear, a puppet dancing to the malevolent tune of Marcus's ambition. The kingdom, oblivious to the sinister forces at play, was growing restless. Rumors of the prince's seclusion and strange behavior were spreading like wildfire. Yet none could fathom the depths of darkness that had ensnared their beloved ruler. Little did they know, a storm was brewing, a tempest of evil that would soon engulf the entire realm. Marcus had a powerful sorcerer who taught him dark magic. With this magic, Marcus could whisper through the doll, making Adrian more scared and confused. Marcus's plan was working. Adrian was becoming weaker and more isolated. One day, Adrian's best friend, Leo, came to visit. Leo was worried about Adrian and wanted to help. But when Adrian saw Leo, he heard the doll whisper, "Be careful. He is the one who will betray you." Adrian didn't know what to do. He loved Leo like a brother, but the doll's voice made him doubt his friend. Instead of welcoming Leo, Adrian accused him of being a traitor. Leo was shocked and hurt, not understanding why Adrian was acting this way. Leo tried to talk to Adrian, but Adrian couldn't hear him over the whispers in his mind. Leo left, sad and confused, while Adrian felt more alone than ever. Marcus watched from the shadows, pleased with how well his plan was working. As long as Adrian was controlled by fear and doubt, Marcus's path to power was clear. One night, Prince Adrian decided he had to find the truth about the doll. He stayed up late, waiting for the whispers to come. He wanted to confront the doll and demand answers. As he sat in the dark room, the doll's voice finally spoke. It told Adrian about a secret room in the castle where he could find the answers he was seeking. Filled with determination, Adrian followed the doll's directions. As Adrian's eyes adjusted to the dim, candlelit chamber, a chill crept down his spine. The room was smaller than he'd anticipated, its walls lined with ancient leather-bound tomes. In the center, a large, ornately carved wooden desk held a single open book. Its pages were filled with strange symbols and handwritten script in an unknown language. A shiver ran through him as he reached for the book. Its cover was soft and worn, as if it had been touched by countless hands over centuries. As he turned the pages, eerie illustrations of grotesque creatures and celestial bodies emerged, accompanied by incantations that seemed to whisper dark promises. But it was the mirror, hanging on the far wall, that truly captivated him. Its frame was wrought iron, twisted into menacing shapes. As he approached it, the reflection seemed to distort, rippling like disturbed water. With a deep breath, Adrian peered into the glass. The image that greeted him was not a simple reflection. It was a haunting tableau. In a dimly lit chamber, similar to the one he was in, Prince Marcus stood over a wooden doll, his face contorted in a sinister grin. Beside him, a cloaked figure, the sorcerer, held aloft a glowing orb, its light casting eerie shadows over the scene. Their movements were slow and deliberate, as if choreographing a macabre ballet. As Adrian watched, the sorcerer raised a skeletal hand, and from its fingertips, a bolt of crimson light shot forth, striking the doll. A piercing scream echoed through the mirror, causing Adrian to stumble backward. The image flickered and died, leaving him alone in the silent room, his heart pounding in his chest. Adrian realized that Marcus had been controlling the doll all along. He understood that the whispers and visions were part of Marcus's plan to make him afraid and alone. But the truth was even darker than Adrian imagined. The doll, once just a tool for Marcus, had become something more. It had absorbed the magic and now had its own power. The doll wanted to take over Adrian's mind completely. Adrian knew he had to act quickly to stop both Marcus and the doll. He felt scared and betrayed, but he knew he had to be brave to save his kingdom. Prince Adrian knew he had to make a difficult choice. He could destroy the doll and stop its power, but he feared losing the protection the oracle had promised. Without the doll, would he still find the great love that was meant to protect him? Adrian also worried about confronting Prince Marcus. If Marcus was caught using dark magic, it would bring shame and conflict to the kingdom. The people might lose trust in the royal family. Adrian thought about Leo and his other friends. He realized he had pushed them away because of his fear and doubt. He missed them and wanted to make things right. He knew he had to act quickly. If he did nothing, the doll would become stronger and Marcus's plan might succeed. But if he acted, he risked losing everything he had hoped for. After thinking long and hard, Adrian made his decision. He decided to destroy the doll and stop Marcus. Even if it meant giving up his dream of finding great love, Adrian realized that he had to protect his kingdom and the people he cared about. With a determined heart, Adrian prepared to confront Marcus and destroy the doll, hoping to restore peace to his life and his kingdom. With courage in his heart, Prince Adrian confronted Prince Marcus in the secret room. The doll was there, its eyes shining with a strange light. Marcus laughed when he saw Adrian. "You think you can stop me," Marcus said. "The doll is mine now. It will do whatever I want." Adrian knew he had to act fast. He grabbed the book of spells and found a way to break the magic. As he read the spell, the room filled with a bright light. The room erupted into a blinding white light, a tempest of energy crackling through the air. The ancient script on the pages glowed with an ethereal radiance as Adrian's voice, strained but resolute, echoed through the chaos. The doll, once a menacing porcelain figure, began to convulse violently, its porcelain skin cracking like ice under pressure. Marcus, his face contorted with fear and desperation, lunged at Adrian, his hands clawing at the air. But the spell was nearing its climax. Adrian, his body trembling with exertion, focused his will on the incantation. With a final, guttural shout, he uttered the last word. The light intensified, blinding them both. When their vision cleared, the room was silent, where the doll had once stood. There was nothing but shattered porcelain and a lingering sense of dread. A heavy silence hung in the air, broken only by the rapid thump of Adrian's heart. The magic was gone, and the whispers stopped. Adrian felt relief wash over him, but as the light faded, he saw Marcus smile. "You may have won today," Marcus said, "but the darkness will never truly leave you." Marcus vanished, leaving Adrian alone in the room. Adrian picked up a piece of the broken doll, feeling a mix of victory and fear. He returned to his kingdom, reunited with his friends and family. The people were happy to have their prince back, but Adrian couldn't shake the feeling that something was still wrong. Every night, he wondered if Marcus's words were true. Had he truly escaped the darkness, or was it waiting to return? Adrian knew he had to stay strong for his kingdom, but the shadow of doubt lingered in his heart. And so the story ends, leaving the question, did Adrian escape the spiral, or has he only begun to fall deeper into the unknown?